What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I am back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, spawning in the top of the map, in the blue color, playing as my favorite god in the entire world set. His name is Joe. His opponent today in the red color, playing against my most hated god. His name is Kvoth. I'm excited. This match is going to be absolute fireworks. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got arguably the best Gaia player currently playing Gaia. I mean, the best Gaia player. Arguably the best Gaia player going up against one of, if not the best, Egyptian players ever. This is Joe. He lives in the England country of Britain, the English country of Britain, the British country of England. Yes, and he is a monster with his set. Now, the big thing I want to preface this game with is I haven't seen Joe playing very much of late. A lot of the times these experts come back and they play the tournament because they get that tournament games are a lot more fun than regular ladder games, and coming back and playing those tournament games and giving it your all for just a little bit is much more. You get all of the endorphins from playing without any of the extra random negatives of just playing random ladder games, whatever they may be. So we will see what's going to happen here as this is all going to unfold. I'm excited to see the way in which Joe approaches this matchup because, well, you know my record against Gaia, and it's pretty in the dumps. So this is a learning experience for me. Alrighty, relics on the bottom of the map here. We've got the Tower of Cestus, an extra range for, or extra damage for your towers, basically. And we've also got the Titan's treasure being uncovered here with the cheaper upgrading to the Titan Age. As now we're going to have the citizen now eating up this rhino. This is a fairly low... Oh, I said it was fairly low hunt, but in actuality, this ain't low hunt at all. We got 3 elephant here. It is just seemingly looking like a double... No, not even a double spawn. It's got 3 spawns of hunt. It's just really, really far away from the main base, which I actually really like this kind of a spawn here as we see the lion coming forward, going to find these hippopotamus. The priest coming over here, going to try and steal these elephant away from Kvoth. The problem with trying to convert elephant is it takes 70 seconds to convert an elephant, and that's a very, very long time. So we'll see if Kvoth is going to spot this. Normally the Atlantean players, when they spot a priest of Set, will click the button that says get out of here, the hero button, and we will be seeing Tar coming through here for Joe as he's got seven villages on gold. How many villages on food is the big question. He's got 9 villages on food here, and we'll see where he's going to go with these bad boys as he's coming over onto the hippopotamus first. Obviously he doesn't know for sure what's on the map, but the big takeaway from playing competitive Mega Random is that if you spot on your opponent's side of the map 3 elephant, it means you have 3 elephant. So while the maps aren't mirrored per se, they are fair. They are incredibly fair. So you know that if you've got them, your opponent's got them. And if we take a look at what Joe's actually scouted here, you can make a fairly easy insinuation that there has to be food in this location here. Now, it does look to me as though Joe is looking for a very, very aggressive move here with his priest and his pharaoh and his Wadjet and his animals of Set here. Looks like he wants to throw up a second town center as well with 9 villages on gold. And we'll see how this is going to go for Joe, trying to slow up Kvoth here. Is Kvoth going military barracks, counter barracks, grabbing the relic, popping that into the temple. It is the Tower of Cestus. It's a very, very big relic for a Gaia player to have, because it can really put a a helping hand in the late game where you start spamming towers and the like, as we do see one elephant has already been converted, and all three of these elephants will probably go the wayside here of Joe as this game is continuing. We see the town center coming up on the front over here as the Pharaoh going to be making his way over to start empowering this one up. So Joe does opt for going up for a far second town center against Gaia. This isn't something that I would ever... I don't think this is something that I've personally had success with, because as soon as the Gaia player sees your second town center, they stop production of military units and they grab their own second town center. As we do see Kvoth now moving up onto this large gold mine. This is something that Kvoth loves to do. He is on these hippos, but he's going to eat these hippos and then jump onto the large gold mine a little bit later, way before his home gold mine expires. This allows his home gold mine to give him a lot more longevity, so he doesn't get picked off by any pesky like 10-minute, 11-minute timings that might end games for him, as we are seeing a barracks getting thrown down for Joe. This is an interesting play here. The barracks, we'll see if he's going to opt in for slingers, or if the barracks is more just a safety barracks, just in case Kvoth goes for something a little bit spicy here. We are seeing the Terma coming over onto this corner here. They will spot the priest. The question is, will they be fast enough to kill the priest before the elephant converts or not? That is the big question, and it's going to be, well, I don't know how close it's going to be, but a little bit of action is anything. And there's the priest. And he's dead. And he's a very sad boy, but he's dead. All right. Barracks now popping up for Joe. And there's the town center coming up. And this is something else that Kvoth really likes to do. So for you Atlantean players out there who have really learnt from old school Atlantean players, the way in which I always saw Atlantean players getting town centers was one citizen. They always went one citizen on a town center. Kvoth and a handful of other new age Atlantean players go two citizens onto their settlement to shoot this up much faster, as we will be seeing the Terma coming in here trying to snipe off those Gazelle of Set. That's actually a big amount of damage that gets done there, as the hyena will spot the 3 elephant in this corner as well. And we'll see how this game ends up going here as it continues. We'll see if actually Kvoth wants to grab his 3rd town center behind this as well, or if he just opts to stay 2 town centers. Oftentimes, the scary thing about Set is the shifting sands. It can give a lot of surprise to what Set wants to do, really put the opposing player under the pump. So you can't really protect all of the different locations that you want to protect, and all the Set player needs to do is find the weakest location, get a big army, and then go here, as we are indeed seeing Joe being... This is incredibly metagaming, and I love it in a big way here from Joe. He goes up to this 3rd town center. So the idea here from Joe, as it seems, was he was going to go 2 town center fast heroic if Kvoth stayed 1 town center here. Joe's kind of flowchart, if you will, has actually turned into if my opponent goes 2 town centers, if I'm on 2 town centers, I'm just going to go to 3 town centers. So he's opted to do that as a reaction, and he's still going to get a fairly decent heroic age here behind this. So a really big boom here for Joe in the early stages of the game. We'll see how it's all going to go. Walls starting to come up here for Joe in this corner. And like, here's the thing with Set. Set is a timing attack god. These big booms allow you to hit the most ridiculous timings, but you do have to hit some sort of an attack. Otherwise, the extra economy you get doesn't end up being enough to beat anyone, because they're all going to catch up to you, and they're all going to be able to take the late game and enjoy said late game much more than you are. So we are seeing this wall coming up over here. Kvoth going to be taking the opportunity to move in and potentially stop this wall from going up. But Kvoth actually not paying attention on this one here, as the citizen, or laborer I should say, going to be able to return back home. So we do see the Mermillo over here getting taken down. Joe's villagers coming forward. This very, very nice from Joe. Pulls them to kill off the Terma before they get in and start harassing the gold mine. And Joe really going to be wanting to throw up a Migdol stronghold fairly soon on this location, I would assume. This is a very sneaky, what do you call this? Spider layer that Kvoth has dropped down on this location here. Because if you see the gold mine here, there's a big chance that there's going to be a Migdol dropping and then a whole bunch of chariot archers or cavalry getting taken out on this location. Now we see Rhea coming through for Kvoth. Rhea is an obnoxious Atlantean god, which doesn't get enough hate. Because you need to hate this god. Because what Rhea does is it makes you not want to have myth units. Because it means if you have myth units, your opponent can take them. So either you have to have 2 of said myth units so you can deal with the myth unit that gets stolen, or you have to have 0 myth units, is the general rule against Rhea, because I mean he's just going to steal your myth unit and you're going to be sad. So we'll see how it's all going to go. We do see Siege Works coming down over here. The Chariot Archers are coming out for Joe, and he does plant an exceptionally well-placed Siege Works here on top of this, what do you call it? Spider lair. Oh, and we do see 1 Chariot Archer has been picked off here. So that's going to be a nice thing. I do get a chat message saying check the economic upgrades. Only shaft mine thus far for Kvoth, as we do see the Scorpion Men getting converted. One automaton goes down. The trade of a crocodile of set here. As Joe is motoring along. He's got so many villagers on gold, transferring a lot of them over onto wood as this game is continuing. Lots of villagers in the base here for Joe. Going to be getting onto these cows. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see these elephants attempted to get converted in the earlier stages of the game from Joe, but maybe later in the game, you should be fine. Throwing up a market now for Joe, getting ready to start that trade route already with the walls up. I love that from Joe. I've said this time and time again that you should go for those types of things here. So you are now seeing the behemoth coming forward, and Kvoth is 100% looking like he wants to do some form of timing attack here. It's still 2 town centers, no 3 town centers. He's got himself a palace. Going to be making those destroyers fairly soon. So we are seeing the siege works getting taken down. Joe throwing up another Migdol stronghold. Joe's got a lot of gold in the bank. He can actually go up to 3 Migdols here, which wouldn't be a bad idea. So we see the Pharaoh moving back in, pushing Kvoth back. Siege works getting thrown up for Joe. And the oracles over here kind of getting spotted and getting pushed back. I do think that Joe's got somewhat of an idea to come over and take those elephants in the corner as the Terma goes down, and the oracle so too will end up falling here as the units continue to pile in onto this position. We do see a spider eggs getting thrown down here by Kvoth. But Joe's economy is huge. He's already at 141 of 145 population. Any sort of heroic age timing here from Kvoth needed to be much, much earlier hit here. I'm surprised he doesn't have any real destroyers out right now, because the destroyers would pretty hard counter those chariot archers to allow him to push in. But right now, Kvoth is got to be hating a little bit on his position. He's throwing up a market in the corner. And we have to remember that Gaia's market is really, really strong. You get access to coinage in the archaic age with channels. And then on top of that, you get coinage. So you get double coinage in the end of the game. And we'll see how this is all going to go here as Kvoth is sitting back. There is, like I've said it once, I've said it a million times, there is no real reason here that Kvoth has to finish the game right now. He can take this game late game and win a late game situation here. As we see a siege works coming up for Joe on this location here. We see the Terma moving in to Joe's base, but Kvoth is, oh sorry, not Kvoth, Joe is already 35% of the way to the mythic age, while Kvoth just clicking up Atlas here. And this is just a testament. This is a testament to how good Joe's kind of knowledge of the game is, or flow chart of the game is, in terms of, okay, if my opponent does this, I do this. If my opponent does this, I do this, yada, yada, yada. And he has been able to pretty much be one step in front of Kvoth this entire game thus far. As Kvoth's going to try and make an implode timing work here. he will have himself access to a trader to steal his opponent's Avenger. So that's going to be big, as the medium arc is going to be wandering through, going to get taken down yet again. Joe's getting a lot of easy kills here. Let's check out the economic upgrades of Joe as well. Joe's got all the good upgrades he needs. Hasn't really... he's started farming. Does he have plow? Ooh, no plow. This is classic Joe. Why get plow when you could not get plow is the big questions to be asking. Yourself here as Kvoth going to continue wandering forward. Lots of wood in the bank for Kvoth. We'll see what he's going to be doing. Joe's just spamming siege works out at this point all over the map as the units still trying to push through. The Horus has hit. Atlas is now 80% of the way through. Mason's at 40% for Kvoth as well. I'm not exactly sure what his plan is where that's concerned. As the Chariot Arch is wandering through, will we see the tornado hitting this town center and preventing a Mythic Age? We have to hit this town center and prevent the Mythic Age, but not happening here. As the Chariot Arch is still moving through, getting torn up by those Arcus, unlike Ra Chariot Archers. The set Chariot Archers, not quite enough here. So we will be seeing that that Trader getting thrown down there, stealing the Avenger, yet again being very, very obnoxious here. But in the end, we'll probably get picked off fairly quickly. We've got the Animals of Set coming through for Joe as well. Joe's got himself only 36 favor in the bank. We see the Implode getting dropped down over here, going to hit a lot of those units. You can't garrison and avoid Implode like with Lightning Storm. So this Implode is going to get a good amount of damage done to Joe. Joe drops down to 130 population. Not a lot of resources in the bank. Kvoth grabbing himself his third town center right now as the Chariot Archers pushing in to try and take these Arcus. The Arcus going to be attempting to walk away, but now Kvoth going to be able to move in. The question is, does he have a Fire Siphon to make this attack really work? Not really. I would probably argue too many Arcus here for this to work. You can see Joe sitting at 147 population and still has gold in the bank to boot, so we could make some mercenary if he so chooses. His trade route starting, coinage coming through as well. We don't have any trade route for Kvoth just yet here. And now is the Ancestors to boot to help defend against this push. And Joe's completely fine now. Guys, like, Kvoth is getting himself his quarry at this point, so he's almost fully upgraded. But Kvoth going to be moving into his base, and here's a big, really, really nice, the nice play that Joe's done in this game thus far is this side build. He's going to be able to push in on the side, take out these buildings, start making his way in, get some buildings over here, get close in onto the Gaia's base, start making things really, really tough here for Kvoth as the Ancestors push in and force Kvoth even further back. It is 142 population for Kvoth to Joe's 160 population. So a very, very big advantage here. We do see the Citizen wandering forward here, and Joe on top of things here in this game, pulling back his siege towers. Those Citizen currently not gathering. The Behemoths are going to be starting to clear out some of these buildings on the side, but Joe's not going to care too much. He's still setting up that trade route. He needs a little bit better economy in terms of the food. He does have himself a plow right now, but he's working on irrigation at 79 of 80 villages as well. Kvoth's at 25 of his 25. Citizen here as the trade route is motoring ahead. Do we see that coinage? No coinage, but it doesn't really matter. 4.56 speed caravan, still very, very good. Now we see some of the classic chemo walls getting dropped here for Joe. Kvoth with a handful of Terma sitting on these elephant for quite a long time. I know why he's doing it, but it seems like a bit of a waste of population in the end of the day here, as Kvoth is like really, really struggling to get all the buildings he would normally want out here. Normally, he would have a handful of palace out and a whole bunch of those destroyers, some fanatics maybe. He's got the handful of Arcus he's constructed are great, but we'll see if he's going to make any serious move forward here as the priests do come in. Going to start scratching those behemoths down. And we'll be seeing those Arcus able to snipe the priest down fairly nicely here, but behemoths do get pulled out pretty fast as the chariot archers come forward, going to take these ones down, and this does force Kvoth back yet again. Town center wise, town centers are very far away. This is no Ras or basically no Hathor Egyptian, so no super long life mercenary, but the ability to push here for Kvoth is severely limited, as Joe's now pretty nicely taken the lead in terms of score. Kvoth keeping his resources low. Chariot archers are at champion. Arcus are at champion. The Kontaria is coming out now for Kvoth a little bit to deal with those Axeman Chariot Archer composition that Joe's made. It's really smart play, these Kontarias. Maybe one of the unknown mistakes currently that Kvoth has made has actually been to go through Rhea here, where Freyja could have been a really, really useful addition to his army, getting the speedy cavalry technology against this kind of army composition. But then again, maybe he wouldn't be in the same position he is now, as we do see a very, very nice dock here from Kvoth. This is going to be useful to block this trade route off. We see this being used on both locations here. I absolutely love that, because one Bareem here will be able to stop the trade route in its tracks in a really, really big way. Joe being very cheeky in this game as well, leaving the siege tower, trying to put the siege tower in the front of the army to try and distract those champion Arcus as best as he can. And we'll see how it's all going to go here, as Joe moving into the middle of the map, dropping buildings down everywhere, siege works all over the shop. One thing that I know that Kvoth doesn't really have resources at the moment, but one thing that Gaia players should be trying to do, just the same as a Greek player or a Poseidon player most aptly would be trying to do, is just dropping buildings all over the place. There are these walls already up, but a transport ship coming in, getting buildings up on this corner here are really, really strong. Things like that can go a huge way here into attacking somewhere else. We still haven't seen any of those ships coming up. They are at 99%, so we'll see if that's going to work here for Kvoth as he's getting pushed back yet again. And Joe is simply being resilient here in this game, taking it slow. He does have to deal with with naval auxiliaries here, but siege towers are actually really, really good against ships. Little known fact, because they deal crush damage. They do a lot of damage against the ships who don't have the 99% crush armor, where that means anything anyways. Still think this is a bit of a waste of population space here for Kvoth. He's guarding the elephants, he's guarding the corner, but you can do this with a tower or a wall or something like this, and then have your population still available, especially now that the docks here. Get a transport ship and get in here. As the upgrades are still mounting here for Kvoth. He's got decent upgrades, but so too does Joe. It's like the game right now is feeling incredibly equal, but this is what makes Joe Joe. He is so good at getting in and getting these wall tower shenanigans set up. And setting this up is everything, because then it allows you to push forward. So we see the walls getting taken down. You have to set up far enough away from your opponent that you can start moving in, as we are seeing the Siege Bareem going to take down 2 markets over here, which is going to be a really, really big help for Kvoth, as Joe's going to have to move his market over here or over here. But right now the big question is, can Kvoth stop a slow push here from Joe? And I mean, Joe is one of the best lamers in the game, best Egyptian players in the game. He's going to be able to spam these buildings incredibly well. This military barracks that's been set up here is not going to be able to spread that lush fast enough to slow down even the guard towers here, as some more buildings are getting pushed up here. But the catapults continuing to roll in. They see me rolling, and the destroyer here trying to make his way in, but going to get taken down. You can deal with this kind of a push here if there's not army to back it up with Fire Siphon. So we'll see if that's going to be something of which Kvoth is aware of. If he can make some Fire Siphon here, it can slow that push down, because we see the trader getting used. But said push gets slowed down because of of reasons as the catapult gets, well, basically the fire summon get not bonus damage, but deal crush damage against the low crush armor of a catapult there. As the catapult gets taken down, the town center going down incredibly fast over here as Joe is putting his pedal to the metal. Villager fight as well. And we do have to remember we still have ourselves Tornado and Shifting Sands here. Joe has held on to both of those. Now, the question is why? And I think the big answer for Joe is, well, I'm going to be probably making a Titan. So Joe gets access to a Titan here, and Kvoth really doesn't. Both Shifting Sands and Tornado means that you're going to be able to get some real good damage onto an enemy Titan done. As the town center gets torn down, not only does it go down, but this is the trade route for Kvoth. So Kvoth has to think about repositioning his trade route to the top corner of the map here. So we do see some towers getting planted over here for Joe. Joe with all the idle caravans in this top corner. And we will be seeing a Shifting Sands getting used by Joe as he says, all right, time to just spam buildings up here. The big problem for literally every civilization against Gaia is that you need serious control over a town center before you can actually take it. So we are going to be seeing these bricks of citizen slowly going down here, but Kvoth in this moment does decide, look, probably over here, hard to continue fighting, but a really, really strong, solid game here from Joe. Took it really slow, going for these 3 town centers. I do wonder how this game would have gone had Kvoth gone 2 town center, 3 town centers straight away, kind of just chasing the set in a way, just accepting that the set gets the town centers up first, and then hitting his late game spikes a little bit earlier. Other option, I think, would have been interesting, but a bit harder because he didn't have the hunt, as it was stolen away by the set in the early game, would have been a really solid heroic age timing. And that means you skip literally everything. You go straight into Destroyer. You go double Palace, Destroyer or something, and you try and push through those Chariot Archers. And then when you see the Axeman, you can start making Contarius or something like this. You really don't go into wood at all. Could have been an interesting idea where that's concerned. But in the end of the day here, Joe still has Tornado. He can get a Titan out and has taken down Kvoth's town center. Gets the first win in this best of 3 series. So we'll see if Kvoth can bring it back in the next one. Really nice game from Joe. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.